very important as well, right? So, okay, so I think we have some agreements, and somebody also said network. So really, so I would say this from our experience, in Amdari, right? When we see people that come into Amdari and they get jobs, whether it's in data science, data engineering, data analysis, cybersecurity, PM, different fields, right? The major thing that they come and get here and they live with that makes them get job is just one thing, right? It's experience. That's just it, right? And experience can come in so many forms. It can come in you working on on projects. It can come with you communicating with a stakeholder on certain deliverables. But that is the major determining factor, right? For us in our demographic, so when I say us, I'm referring to Africans, right? Immigrants. We move to the UK or we go to Europe or, US, Canada, wherever we go to. A lot of the times we go on a study visa, right? We go on a study visa, maybe a bachelor's, a master's degree. And these schools, they don't mind. Sometimes, once you can pay the tuition, even if you studied agriculture, they will give you admission for AI or analysis. They don't mind as long as you can pay the tuition. But when you might have the challenge is when you finish that degree. Now, I need to get a job. Then you realize that, oh, what I just have is just a degree. I actually need proof of work that shows that I can actually do this job that this recruiter wants. So what a recruiter is looking out for is what is proof of work. They want to feel that, you've done something similar, because the whole idea is that if you've done something similar, most likely you can do it again in a different form, right? So it all comes from basically one thing, your portfolio. Us in the tech industry, when we talk about experience, right, we're referring to a body of work that you incorporate into a portfolio, right? So in this session, we're going to be focusing on data science in particular, right? So how many of us, have had some sort of interest in this field, or maybe you've taken a course in this field somewhere or wherever, like, let me see. You can just, give a thumbs up or comment on the chat. How many of us have had some level of experience in this field? Was it a course you took, or you did a master's degree or a PhD program, etc.? Okay, so I got one thumbs up. Okay, Godfrey said he has, right? I think I also got another thumbs up as well, right? So at the end of this program, you're going to see things that you did not see in that course program, and I will explain to you why they are not incorporated in the course program, right? So let me just go straight forward to my presentation for today. Okay, no, I'm going ahead of myself. Okay, first of all, I will start by introducing Amdari. So Amdari is an innovative platform designed to revolutionize how aspiring tech professionals build their careers and gain practical experience. Our mission is to be the bridge, to bridge the gap between theoretical learning and real-world experience by providing users with real-life end-to-end practical and hands-on projects, right? So it's very, very simple to understand what we offer, right? So when you come into Amdari, you would have some sort of basic level in that field. It could be you have a degree in it, you went to a boot camp, you took an online course, or you went on YouTube. You should have some sort of, basic level, right? Your level could be beginner level, it could be intermediate, it could be advanced. But what we offer you is an opportunity to work on real world projects, right? That will actually, land you a job. So in terms of the industries in tech, we have data analytics, we have data science, data engineering, we have business analysis as well. Then we have project management. Then we have some on cybersecurity. We have SOC analysts, right? We have ethical hacking and pen testing. Then we have GRC as well, which stands for governance, risks, and compliance. So these projects not only enhance skills, but also help users build a robust portfolio that showcase their expertise towards potential employers. So that's basically what Amdari is about. We've had people coming in the past year, with master's degrees, certifications here and there, but they always feel, there's something missing, right? I'm applying for jobs and I don't even get to the interview stage. Why? A lot of the times is because of your experience is not there. If you think about it logically, right? Somebody has a master's degree in data science and you're applying for 10 jobs, 20 jobs, 30 jobs in a week, and you're not getting a call for an interview at least, then it's very obvious for you to think what is wrong, right? And you cannot manufacture experience in the terms of that, especially in countries like the UK, they will ask for references, right? So you cannot just say, oh, I want to manufacture an experience. Or you cannot go to maybe a free resource like YouTube or Kaggle and just do a project there and say, okay, that's my experience. No, they want to have the feeling that you've worked in a production level environment, right? Where you have to communicate with stakeholders, where you have to deliver results to, to a team lead and all of that, right? That is what they want to see in your application. So this is our co-founder. We have Adeza. He's a technology expert with over a decade of experience in data analytics and management consulting. As the founder of Tenalytics and co-founder of Adawi, Adeza has helped over 2,850 people with prior tech background transition into tech and land their first tech jobs, right? So we have a sister company called Tenalytics, right? Where this is for people who want to gain the knowledge, right? You want to go into tech, you want to learn the theory aspect, you want to actually gain the knowledge, right? You could take courses on Tenalytics, but that we will focus on work experience, giving you the opportunity to work on projects, right? And also some extra services, which I will still talk about within the course of the presentation. Then next we have myself. My name is Sean Afamifuna. I'm a machine learning engineer, AI engineer, data scientist with over 5 years of experience in building data-driven solutions across education, technology, finance, energy, and speech technology, right? So I have a couple of projects that I've been privileged to work on: real-time energy forecasting, domain-specific language models, speech recognition, and low-resource languages as well. So my own personal expertise is in data science analytics, right? Then eventually machine learning and AI, cloud and software integration, model deployment, and automation, right? So in some of the projects that I'll be showcasing, you will be seeing where all these skills really combines one way or the other to lead to a very, very nice project that you can showcase on your portfolio. So we have here portfolio power, right? Getting noticed by UK recruiters. What they want to see is practical skills, not just your certificates, right? And your portfolio or your body of work proves that you can solve real-world business problems. So, and a very early mentor that I had in this field, right? He used to tell me that you want to be a data scientist, but just stand alone, you're not really useful. Because wherever you want to apply your data skills, it has to be in a business, in a domain, right? So you could be a data scientist working on maybe financial data, health data, STEM, agriculture. There are so many areas, right? Anywhere that there's data, you could find the need for a data scientist, right? So the advice I got very, very early is that wherever you find yourself working, whether it's a project or whatever, we have to understand the business and the business problem that you're trying to solve as a data scientist. So this is the difference between moving from a theoretical background to a working environment, right? Me personally, I'm doing a master's degree, right? I'm taking nowadays, any degree that you do, right? You are going to take courses in AI one way or the other. That's just the way it is because everybody wants to learn AI, right? They never really focus deeply on the business value. It's always about the theoretical foundation. Do you know how to write a script? Do you know how to write a function? Do you know how to clean data? Do you know how to train a machine learning model, right? But they don't focus on the business value or the deliverable of what you are doing. But a recruiter, someone that is going to pay you money, right, to work for them, they are focused on what? Making money. So that's why it's a business. So the first thing you have to do is to understand how to move from that classroom environment to working on projects like somebody that wants to solve a business problem. And there's no two ways about this. You can't learn this on a bootcamp. You can't learn it going to YouTube. You actually have to be in the field to learn it. You have to communicate with a stakeholder. You have to understand their pain points, right? Then you will translate it into what you know, the skills you have, and you will deliver the solution for them, right? So that is what you gain working on projects, right? That's what you gain. So you gain insights to what makes a portfolio stand out. And I'll also be giving you some tips as well to showcase your skills effectively. Now, before I go on, are we still with me? If you're still with me, please just give a thumbs up, right? Give a thumbs up or any reaction if you're still with me. Okay, Joseph, you're with me. Godfrey. All right. Daniel, Monday. All right, we're good to go. Okay, so why does this matter in 2025, right? Why is it very important to have a good portfolio of work as a data scientist in 2025? Actually, I should say in 2026, since really the end, we have already come to the end of the year, right? So first things first, if you're based in the UK, right, you would know that the UK's economy is dominated by what? Services. This is it's just a fact, right? Compared to like maybe a country like China that does a lot of manufacturing, and the USA, the UK does not have that. That's not the economy. They run on services, whether it's bank, fintech, tech services, HR services, healthcare, insurance, retail banking, e-commerce. Their economy majorly runs on what? On services. So anywhere you have services, you're offering services to customers, right? It's very, very easy to understand that there's always a large inflow of what? Of data, right? Now, in that large inflow of data, there's always opportunities for data professionals coming from a data engineer that designs the infrastructure of how the data flows from one environment to another, or a data analyst that tries to make sense of the data and give insights to the stakeholder, or a data scientist who does the same thing that a data analyst would do, but goes further to build an automated system to make predictions or forecast the future based on what? That data. But the whole idea is that any environment that has a lot of service operations, where the economy is running on so many services, there's always room for what? Data people that work with data. So mind you, when it comes to job descriptions, it can be very, very skewed, right? So for instance, now, before I joined this session, I had a former consultant that left us about 2 months ago. She got a job. She didn't get a job as a data scientist. She got a job as a management accountant. That was the role. But she came in here as a what? Data science consultant. On her CV, it was there that she worked as a data science consultant in finance with what? Amdari. From what the talk I had with her, what she said was that the recruiter, they were very interested in the fact that she had data skills. The role was as a management accountant, where she's going to be responsible for their ERP system. The ERP system stores data, right? Now that ERP system is going to, what do you call it? So let's say transmit data from that system to wherever maybe an analyst will need that data to get insights from. Even the person that manages that ERP system should understand how data analysis work to a certain level. So that was why they were interested in her. That was what made her stand out. She has a background in accounting. There were probably maybe 20%. What was 20? Or 100 persons that applied. They have a degree in accounting. Maybe they've done the different icon and the rest, right? But what set her apart was the fact that she also had skills in what? Data science. Me personally, I've always seen this field as more of a skill than a standalone profession. Don't get me wrong, you can easily get a job as a data scientist, right, or a machine learning engineer. But me personally, and what I always advise people, try to see this more as a skill that you could implement anywhere you go, right? Anywhere you go, whether it's in engineering, is in STEM, is in finance, health, anywhere, agriculture, right? There's always opportunities if you understand the domain and you also have the skills that you can transfer to that domain as well. But like I mentioned, in the UK, is majorly services, right? So if your main goal is to land a job in the UK, you should be focused on these certain domains: finance, HR, tech, healthcare as well, right? Those are the domains that you probably want to focus on, and insurance as well. So we have here services rely on data-driven decisions, pricing, risks, customer behavior, and operations as well. And there's still a huge demand for data skills. We have 178,000 to 234,000 data roles currently being recruited in the UK. Nearly half of UK businesses struggle to recruit candidates with the right data skills, right? So these are some of the reasons why we would say it is even becoming more and more important to get into this industry as at this year and even moving forward to next year and and future years as well. So we have here what recruiters really want, right? We've already talked about the first one, practical hands-on experience with real-world data, right? That's what they want to. That's what they want. When you come to an interview, usually, and they speak about your experience, they want to see how you can translate that experience to a business value, to a business impact. If you even go on ChatGPT today and you type what are likely interviews that I will get as a data scientist, you always see questions about how did you use this and this method to help this business, right? So being able to translate those technical skills to real business impact is also very, 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 very important as well. Then obviously those technical skills are still important. You should have familiarity with industry tools, right? So for a data scientist, we're talking Python, SQL, machine learning libraries, and the likes. Then you should also be able to communicate your insights clearly to non-technical stakeholders and understanding of domain-specific context. So like I said, you are a data scientist now. You're applying for a job in finance, in real estate, in healthcare. You should understand the business. You should understand your business value, your use case as a data scientist in that business as well, right? So it's a measure of the two. Domain expertise and technical expertise is a measure. They comes together. Once that collab happens, you are good to go. Okay, so now I'm going towards the project, right? But before I go into the projects, this is like my trophy cabinet that I'm going to display. But before I go through the projects, please confirm if you are still with me. Thumbs up, reaction, anything, any of your favorite emoji you can use, right? You can just give a reaction if you are still with me. And if you have questions as I'm talking, you can drop it in the chats, right? You can drop it in the chats. Yeah, so that I don't just keep wrapping. If you have questions while I'm presenting, you can always just drop it in the chat and I will come back and look at it and answer. Okay, for now, no questions. All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So the first one that I have here is called a waste classification project of UK cities, right? Yeah. From a personal experience, I used to hear of recycling. I used to hear of it. I knew that there was something as recycling, but I never really recycled anything until I left Nigeria, right? So those of you that are probably in the UK or somewhere, where we have recycled bins, you will know what I'm referring to, right? You have different colors for plastic, for metal, for organic waste, and the likes, right? So this particular project, the aim of the project was to build a computer vision system, right, that can accurately predict what the waste is, right? So you could deploy this into what they call an IoT sensor. You place it in the bin. When somebody approaches the bin with a particular waste, it can detect, okay, this is where you should drop it, and this is where you should drop it. For somebody like me, that for the first time, I wasn't exactly sure where to drop my waste, right? This kind of system can help you. So I'm going to show you how it works, right? So when I said there are things that you will see, that even if you've done the master's in this field, you have not done this before, right? In fact, I can even say, okay, let me not go extreme, but I can promise you that there is no way you will do a master's degree in the UK in data science where you actually get to deploy a full working system, because a lot of the times even the professors don't even do it, right? So that's the difference between taking a course and actually working on projects. So you're seeing my screen, right? I'm going to display how this works essentially. So I'm on my webcam. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm on my webcam. I hope it doesn't interfere with my camera. Let me see. Okay. So what I'm holding here is a plastic bottle, right? This is a plastic bottle that I'm holding here. So I'm going to take a picture of it. And I'm going to feed it to the system. So what do you see there? Okay, it's really interesting. I need to do this again. My system is embarrassing me. So let me do this again. let me try it again. Okay, so hopefully it gets it correctly this time. It's still getting it as class, right? Let me try with something else. But basically, what this does is that it tries to predict the waste that you are using, right? So the way my bottle is currently, it kind of looks like a glass bottle. So I'm going to use something different. Let me use a piece of cloth that I have here. Let me see. Okay, so I have like a head on my ear. So let me see what is going to predict this out. Hopefully it doesn't mess up. So let's see. Okay, it got this one. So what can you see on your screen as the output? What can you see, guys? Can you drop on the charts what you can see as the output on your screen? What can you see, guys, as the output on your screen? Output. Out this on the charts. What can we see? What can we see? What can we see? Clothes, right? Yeah. So clothes, exactly. Right. Let me see. I think I also trained on paper as well. So let me test for paper. I think we also built this for paper waste as well. So let me try paper. Let me see. Okay, so I have like let me see. Submit. What can we see on the as the outputs now, guys? On the chart, what can we see? Paper, exactly, right? So somebody asks, can glass be recycled? Yes, glass can be recycled. But the point I was trying to make that what I was holding was a plastic bottle, right? But it was written it as glass because the bottle kind of looks like a glass, right? Yeah, it's like a transparent bottle, so it was kind of looking like a glass. But glass can also be recycled as well, obviously. So what this is in, as a data scientist, this is the field called computer vision. That's what this field is, right? Computer vision, right? Is where you use images to train a machine learning algorithm to be able to predict what that image should be, right? So under data science, there are so many sub areas, right? There's what you call language models. That's what we use ChatGPT for, right? That's the technology that they like. There's what you call speech processing, which is actually my major area of specialty, right? Speech technology. When you're talking to Siri or your translator on Google, that technology, right? That is natural language processing. Then we have computer vision when it comes to images, right? Being able to predict from images, right? That's computer vision. And we have, a couple of other areas as well. So this was one project that we worked on. I think it was April 2024. No, April this year, actually. It wasn't even this year. Yeah, it was April this year that we worked on this project. So one thing that we do, every project that you work on, you deploy it. When I mean deploy, you have a working system like this. So when you're coming to an interview, you're saying, I did this, I did that. It's not just, you're not just talking. You actually have something to present. For those that have taken a course on this field, you will know what I mean by a notebook. You won't just present your Jupyter notebook alone, right? You actually have a web app that you can present. Getting that trained machine learning algorithm from your notebook to an environment where you can showcase or do a demo. This is called a demo, right? This is a demo. This is a demo, right? Let's say you want to get funding for this project. This is what you present, a demo, right? That's basically what we do, right? So it doesn't stop at the area of I've done this in a Jupyter notebook. You will get to deploy it into a real working system, right? Where you can actually showcase in an interview, this is what I've built, right? So this is just one. So like I said, we have 5 projects, five. So this is just one. There was a question, there was a hand raised before. So if you have a question, you can ask a question before I continue. I can take questions on each project before I even round up, right? So I don't have to wait for the 5 before I take questions. So if you have a question, you could raise your hand and I will address your question. Okay, so if there are no questions, I guess I can just continue. Okay, so let me go back to my presentation. So in terms of the skills that was developed with this project, we have what they call CNN. It stands for convolutional neural networks, right? It's just like a subsection of machine learning. Then we have image processing. Some of the tools that were used here, we have TensorFlow. That was the architecture that was used to build the machine learning system. Then we have deployments. That part of the project where you take it from your developer environment into an actual working environment, right? That is called what? Deployment. Then you can see the business impact for this project, right? Automate sorting, reduce labor costs, and improve recycling efficiency. So in a real world use case, right, you can deploy that project on what they call an API. An API. So if you have an IoT sensor on the bins that communicates with the API, right, the IoT sensor can capture the image. It sends the image to the API. The image sends information back to the sensor that this is what? Plastic or glass or whatever. Then an output comes. The output can come from maybe a light to blink or something like that, right? That is basically how this could work. Let me move to the next one. Okay, so the next one we have is breast histopathology detection, right? So actually, the information here is actually wrong. Apologies. So I'm going to explain this project with a demonstration and not the information on the slides, right? So this is another project that was worked on. So this was to basically detect breast cancer, essentially. So the first project we just talked about is, let's say, is in the environmental industry, right? This is in the health industry now. This is a machine learning system that can accurately and precisely detect breast cancer using a breast tissue image, right? So that's basically what this is. Again, this is still computer vision, right? This is computer vision. So let me just test this system, right? So I'm going to upload an image. Okay, I'm not sharing my full screen. I think I have to share my full screen for you to see me uploading the image. So give me a minute. Let me share my full screen and not just the tab. Okay, someone asked what was the purpose of the waste model. So I think I explained it just now, right? So like I said, as a demo, you could have a demo like that, right? But when you want to take it to a real world environment, you could integrate it to what they call a IoT device, right? So you could have like a small camera attached to a bin that communicates with your model via an API, right? So usually when you work on projects in machine learning, right, you usually use an API as the mediator, right? That's basically what an API does. So whether it's a mediator between the model and a website, the model and an IoT sensor, the model and even a car, right? There are different ways you can communicate, but usually we use APIs to perform that communication. So I wanted to share my entire screen so that you can see this properly. So I'm going to upload some test images, right? Let me see my desktop. Versus to pathology, test data. Then I'm going to click on analyze. Yeah, so this will take quite some time, right? Because this particular model is a heavy model, right? It's a heavy model. It was built to be able to accurately detect between a cancerous sample and a non-cancerous sample, right? So we have the analysis. We see that this is a malignant sample, meaning cancer risk, right? You also have the, what do you call it? The what do we have? The average confidence as 83.7%. So the goal of this project was not really to be the final decision maker. The goal of this project was actually to reduce the backlog of a pathologist. So let me give you, let me try to paint a scenario now. There are usually free programs, right? Maybe it could be awareness programs where en masse you get a lot of people coming to come and do breast cancer screening, right? So usually if you have 200 persons, right, probably a very few percentage will actually be at risk of breast cancer. But a pathologist will still have to review all of them, which can take time. It will take time, and the time the result comes, the time in between the review is done and the result comes out, it could also be long, right? But when you have an AI system that can accurately detect the ones that are of high risk, the pathologist will only have to review what the high risk ones, and it will still make a final decision as to whether this person should be brought in for more screening and the likes. So in this use case, for the use case of this, it is not to be the final caller, right? It's not as if you have a patient that comes, gives his image here, and it will now predict for him. No, this is an internal system that just to reduce the workload, to make sure that the ones that get to the pathologist desk are only the ones that have a potential of having breast cancer. So it's just to reduce backlog. And when you evaluate machine learning models in terms of the ethics, right, in a health project like this that has a very sensitive domain, you have to make sure that your precision is 100% accurate, meaning that your model should be able to accurately detect all the breast cancer images that was on your training data, right? So in this kind of domain, you have to aim for perfection because it's a very sensitive domain. So let me check the chat if there are some questions before I continue to the next one. Then I will still give an overview of how you can pick apart your projects and put them in your portfolio to allow you stand out. I'll still give a general overview, right? So any question, I'm looking at the chat for questions. So if we're good to go, please just give a reaction as usual. Thumbs up, any reaction you want to use if we are good to go. All right, all right, all right. So let me go back to sharing only my screen. Sharing only my screen. Okay. So moving on. Now we're
Hi everyone, please let's give Sean some minutes, but he probably had a network issue. Hi, attendee Sean will be back with us. Good evening, everyone. Sean had some network issues. Let's just give him a couple of minutes. Back with us. Hi, Sean. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I had a a small issue with my. I think I was running 2 minutes at the same time, so there was a bit of a lag. So let me go back to share my screen. Okay, okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, please just confirm. All right, great. So I asked the question. I don't know where I lost where I lost you guys. Apologies, right? So I said from anybody's prior experience, who can tell me the difference between structured data and unstructured or structured data, right? Does anybody wants to try a difference between structured data and unstructured data? I think I would like to hear somebody's voice, right? I would like to hear somebody's voice. So please, there's no one answer here. There's no one answer here. Just raise up your hands. Just any idea, any idea. Structured data and unstructured data. While I'm waiting for that, let me take this question on the chat. You said that it's needed to work with a tech company to build your portfolio. How about those who do not have the experience in the tech field, but is willing to learn and gain experience? That's a very good. That's a very good. So what we need from you before you come in, right, is just a basic knowledge, not really experience. So when I mean a basic knowledge, you could have taken a course, right? Maybe in our sister company or anywhere else that you've taken a course, right? So that's what we really need from you. So then we're going to give you real world experience exposure in terms of working on projects. And I will also want to reiterate that, right? you also learn a lot while working on projects. So your level of knowledge in the field doesn't have to be extraordinary, to be told, right? It could just be basic. But while working on those projects, we are still going to learn the theoretical foundations. So there's still an aspect of learning by doing as well. So the project is not just, okay, I need a portfolio to get a job. You're also reiterating your skills in the field as well, right? So it's like killing two birds with one stone, so to speak. Okay, so I have somebody's hands raised. Ayotunde, please go ahead.
Okay. From my little knowledge, I feel structured data is data that is organized and like is well defined in rows and columns. Then the unstructured data is one that is not well arranged and not well defined, as in you cannot really fit into tables for you to organize them.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I still have another hands raised. Let me take Peter. Please go ahead. Peter, you can go ahead, please. Your mic is still muted. Peter. Okay. Okay. So let me take from the charts. From Ade, we have data that okay. Yes, go ahead, Peter. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So structured data, they are data that fits neatly. You understand? Data that fit neatly into a predefined model, like tables and rows, the way he just said it. You understand? While unstructured are the ones that does not follow a fixed format, or that is typically stored its native form, such as text, messages, videos.
Perfect. Perfect. So so when I say what knowledge do you need before you can attend Amdari, this is what I'm referring to, right? Just a basic theoretical understanding of what the field entails. Then you can work on projects. You don't have to be a Python expert before you join, right? So let me take from the chat as well. So yes, that's very, very correct, Peter, and also Ayotunde as well. Perfectly correct. So from Adi, we have these are data that are usually in tables, while unstructured data aren't. Beautiful. We also have from Joseph that this is data organized in spreadsheets of employees. For unstructured, they are unorganized, like emails and photos. Exactly. So the basic idea is that when you can fit your data into rows and columns, that is a structured data. Anything else is what unstructured. So when we say, so now we're talking about Excel sheets, CSV files, right? SQL tables and the likes. Then for unstructured, we're talking about images, audio, text. Those are the major ones. Images, audio, and what? And text, right? So usually in this field, usually you can separate whether it's machine learning or deep learning from the kind of data that you're working with. So usually machine learning algorithms focus on structured data, right? So let's say you're working on a project where the aim is to build a model that can predict house prices, or to build a model that can perform customer segmentation, right? That is what machine learning. But when you start building models to make prediction with images, audios, right? Those is usually what? Deep learning. Emails is also unstructured data. The data format for emails is what? Is text. Text, right? How does Gmail know that this email is a spam email? How did they know? Automatically that somebody that is sending email is spam. It is what? Is machine learning, right? Is machine learning. How does your bank know that this particular payment could be fraudulent or not, and they reverse it in like 1 second? They don't have any staff that is reviewing that payment in 1 second. It is what? Is machine learning, right? So depending on the kind of data you have, it usually depend. It will determine how you build your machine learning algorithm. So for the first two projects, we used image data. So that was why we used deep learning models. Now, in this next one, we're working with structured data, right, which I would also explain and demonstrate. So this was customer segmentation, right? Real-time banking, in the real-time banking sector. So let me open the link. Okay, I think it's finally up. Right, so you might be seeing a lot of metrics here, right? I'm not going to go in full detail what these metrics mean, but I'll just give an explanation, right? So customer segmentation is, I would say, the biggest use of machine learning in the world currently, right? It's the biggest use of machine learning in the world currently. So companies want to give you tailored experiences, right? For instance, now a company like Netflix, for instance, what you see they recommend to you is based on your interaction with them, right? E-commerce, when you go on an e-commerce platform, like let's say Amazon and the likes, the products that they recommend for you to buy is based on your previous interaction with them. Or let's say a bank, a very modern bank, right? You've not interacted with that platform in 7 months, 6 months. They send you an email. Maybe they give you a coupon or something just to re-engage you, right? Or you're always spending money on that platform and they want to reward you. These are different ways to segment customers and give them and provide them tailored experiences. So that was basically the aim we had in this project, right? To accurately segment customers in the retail banking industry to provide them tailored experiences, right? So when it comes to customer segmentation, in the technical terms, we use what they call unsupervised learning. So there are two types of machine learning. No, actually, there are three types. We have supervised learning, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning, right? So who has any idea, like for those with small experience or knowledge, right? What's the difference between supervised learning and unsupervised learning, right? Who wants to try? Any idea? Between supervised learning and unsupervised learning. You could just drop a message on the chat, or you could raise your hand if you want to try. Any idea? Okay, so let me give the answer. So when we say supervised learning, right, we give the machine learning model both the question and the answer, and it learns on its own how to get from question to answer. That's what I mean by supervised learning, right? Let's say you want to study for an exam, right? You want to study for an exam, right? You look at the question, you are going through past questions. You look at the questions and you look at the answer as well. You try to understand the patterns that leads you from that question to the answer, right? You study it. Then when somebody does not show you the answer again, they only show you the question, you'll be able to know or rather use what you've learned previously to get the answer. That's what we refer to as supervised learning. Unsupervised, you only see the data without the label. And on your own, the aim is not to get the answer, because you cannot get the answer without just seeing the question. The aim is for you to be able to separate the question into different fields, right? So let's say you have let me say an engineering exam, or whether you see engineering questions. You don't know the answer. You see 10 questions, you don't know the answer, but you can see similarities between some questions and you can put them in a group. So you can now say, okay, this particular group of questions is under mechanics, this next group of questions is under fluids, right, or whatever. So that is what we do in segmentation. The aim is for you to separate data into different segments. The job of the data scientist will now be to look at the separation that the machine learning algorithm has done and attach a label to it. Let me give an instance now. I have data from customers, right? I have how recent they spend on my platform, the frequency in which they spend, and the monetary value that they spend as well. I have those three important details from a customer base. I can be able to segment, or rather the machine learning algorithm can be able to segment that customer base by similarities in those features. For instance, now, if there are particular customers that have a low recency value and high frequency, they will be in one group. If there are some customers that have high monetary but low frequency, they will be in another group, right? So that separation will be there. Then you, as the scientist, will look at that separation and attach a label to it. Then you now communicate to your stakeholder and say, this is the different separations of your customers. So you now know if you need to send these particular people emails to engage, maybe they've not used the platform for a while, or if you need to send bonuses for these high-end customers and the likes, right? So it's the same ideology that companies like Amazon uses, e-commerce companies, Netflix. That's what they use to keep you engaged. Even on Twitter, on Instagram, when they say algorithm, why are they on TikTok? Why is the algorithm showing you some certain videos? They've already put in a particular segment. They know what you like. If you are the type that likes watching inspirational videos, they will show it to you. That's your segment. They're putting in holy segments. If you are the type that like watching very dark man, they've put in gossip segments. They will show you very dark man and the likes, right? So that's how it works in the back end. So this project was basically, doing that, right? But for the banking sector. Yeah, so we have in the chat from CDCAT, we have supervised learning requires labels. Yes, that's perfectly correct. It requires labels, but for unsupervised, there's no label. You only get the data and the algorithm has to figure things out on its own. So any questions or does anyone have any question before I move to the next one? So don't worry, right? I'm going a bit too technical, but I'm still going to give you a general overview, right, of how you can, relate. In all the projects that I've showed so far, you see that I've done a good job, right, or a fair job in trying to relate it to a business case, right? So this is not all just coding or whatever. I'm actually explaining to you the use case of this project, right? Okay, let me take a question from Ayotunde. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so thank you. I just want to make confirm something. Someone said something about the algorithms.
Okay.
You mentioned that it follows what you like checking online. So someone mentioned that it also reads what you think and what you see. Is that possible? Is that true?
What you think? Like
yes.
What you're thinking of?
I'm telling you, and what you say. So I don't know. I just need to confirm if that's possible.
No. So the thing is that these algorithms are so strong that it feels like it. I've had that experience that you've had, right? It feels like you're thinking of shoe, and you open Instagram and you're seeing shoe. I know we've all had that experience.
Yes.
I understand, but the algorithms are very, very good at prediction. And truth be told, there's also an issue currently of data privacy. So some of these apps, they are sharing information within themselves. So basically, if you were looking at shoe on Facebook, you will see shoe on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
So if you even search shoe on TikTok, you will see it on Amazon, right? So they share information within themselves. That's why the richest companies in the world now are the ones that have the most data. There's a saying now that data is the new oil. Data is the new oil money, right? The companies that have the most data are the ones that have the most money, right? So that's why data privacy is still like 18, right? So, I mean, for now, I don't think the algorithms can read your mind. Maybe it will get to the stage where they can communicate with your eyes and get to your neural networks and probably do that. But for now, nah, it's just machine learning. They're just very, very good at sharing data and using your data. They're very, very good at taking your data. That's what I'll say. They're very, very good at taking your data when you don't know. That's what I would say, in ways that you don't even notice. They're very, very good at it. So it almost feels like they know you better than you even know yourself. That's what it feels like.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So that's a very, very nice question, today. Okay. So let me move to the next one we have here. Let me see. Okay, so this project, I think, can I zoom this a bit? Because this project is not deployed again, because this was like, it was for an actual company, right? So we've taken it down. But basically, let me try and zoom it. Or should I just show you the project on my LinkedIn, right? No, let me just try and zoom it as much as I can so that you can see it properly. Can I zoom this? Oh no, that's not working. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, you might not be seeing this very, very clearly, right? But if you can, I will still try to explain what we have here, right? So this is still on structured data, but for this project, we are working with real-time data, right? Real-time data. So in the sense that we built a forecasting model for energy consumption, right? So all of us, or rather, for us that, we have our votes in Nigeria, right? I used to tell people that our power problems is not always a capacity problem. It's not that we cannot generate the amount of electricity that can go around. It is really majorly a distribution problem, in the sense that in Nigeria, for instance, now, a particular street or community that has 50 houses or even 100, they are sharing one transformer, right? Meanwhile, one man that has one house has his own transformer, right? So that's what I mean by distribution problem, right? You have a situation where a high amount of power is going towards an environment that does not even need it. Then a lower amount of power is going to an environment that requires much, much more, right? So in this kind of system, right, you could accurately predict in real time, or rather forecast, that was what I use, forecast in real time what the power consumption of each household should be. So it's getting data from, in advanced countries, in their power networks, in their DGs, they have different sensors that are communicating with each other, right? So it's getting data from those sensors and feeding it to this system. So this system can also feed instructions to wherever the DG is. By DG, I mean what do you call it? The technical term for it, the distributed network, right? To actually determine what the power transfer should be, right? So this is happening in real time. So going back to the technical deliverable, this is still structured data, but now we're working with real-time data. So there's a bit of a difference on how you train and the algorithms that you use as well, right? So that was just the only difference, right? So in areas where, on campus, for instance, now, like the campus that I went to for master's degree, we had our own renewable DG network, right? Because, in most of Europe, they are trying to transition into clean energy. So when it comes to clean energy, they usually have those kind of networks, right? And because it's clean energy, you cannot waste resources. You have to always optimize how much power is being, sent around that environment, right? So this kind of system, we're using machine learning to determine what the power consumption in each household should be in real time. So this was also something very, very nice that we worked on as well. Somebody actually got a job from this, right? Not in this domain in particular, but something very, very similar, right? So this is on the energy sector. So I've talked about environmental sector, I've mentioned health sector. The last one I mentioned, retail banking, and this is what energy sector. So you get exposure to different domains, right? Different domains that are actually important. The high, let me say, the high demand domains, the ones that most of the job roles are coming from now. You get exposure to those domains as well. Then the last project that I will show before I give a general overview. Yeah, so this was a university student advisory chatbot, right? So like I said, this was also for a stakeholder, but I can show you it on one of our consultants LinkedIn's page, right? And I'll just use that to explain what the working system was. Okay, so this is one of our previous consultants. His name is Serge. He's a French speaker, actually, so the post is in French. So I can actually share this link in case you want to check it out yourself on the chats. Let me share this on our chats. All right. So you can check it out yourself on LinkedIn. So what we built with this project, we said, you can see he mentioned Amdari, right? You can see Amdari, yeah. So we built a university course advisory chatbot. That was what we built, right? So why I would say that we're in a current climate where every business wants to have that, essentially, right? When I mean chatbots, is that an easy way for customers to interact with our platform. So you don't always want to wait for, let's say a customer service person to reply your email. You can just have a chatbot that you just ask the question, right? So a lot of companies in different industries, they want to have their own custom-made, chatbot. Banks are doing it, schools are doing it, a lot of services are doing it, right? So this was for a university. So we actually built it for different universities, but he chose his own stakeholder was for a Cape Town school. So this is just a demo, right? Obviously, we can only showcase a demo. So this is just a demo. So this is what we call large language models, right? So this is a mixture of natural language processing and large language models. As we imagine, we're working here with unstructured data, meaning you're working with what? With text data, right? So you could have, let's say for this school, for instance, now, you want to decide what program you want to pick in this school, right? You want to decide. You have your budget in your head, and you have different questions you want to ask. Instead of having to navigate through the site and probably, getting dizzy, trying to find where to get the right information, you can just ask the chatbot the exact question that you want to ask, and to give you the answer. Now, how does this work? Everything is still from what? It's still from data. So if the stakeholder gives you the required information that is needed, right, is in text, they'll give you that text information. You can store that text information in what we call a vector database. That's what it's called, a vector database. Then there's a framework called RAG, RAG, right? It stands for Retrieval Augmentation Generation, right? So that system allows a language model to fetch data from a vector database to make a prediction. When I say language models, just think of ChatGPT. Have you ever wondered how does ChatGPT understand what you're even telling him? That system does not know anything on its own. All it knows is information that has been used to train its model. So it's called a large language model. It has been fed so many information. The first model of ChatGPT I had was filled with 70 billion. I think, yeah, there was a way they measured the amount of data that was fed, but it was from the internet. They said I think it was 70 billion parameters of data. That was what was used to feed on ChatGPT, right? So you don't need to create a system that knows everything. That's not the aim, right? You can, if you're creating a chatbot to be a domain expert, to be an expert in a particular domain, all you need is data from that domain, right? You put it in a vector database, you will link that database to what we call a language model, and then you can interact with the language model and get an output. So for him, he asked the question. Let me see the question that he asked. Because he was showcasing the project on his LinkedIn. And let me just skip to the ending. Does UCT offer mental health support? That was the question he asked. Then you see the answer at the ending. Let me see. Let me pause it here. Yeah. So this is the answer that he was getting. These are the services that they offer. Counseling, advice, referral, and general support for students facing mental health challenges or contemplating suicide, blah, 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 blah. You understand? So how smart your response is all depends on the, let me say, how big your language model is, right? So, like I said, I don't want to go too deep into the technical expertise. When you join Amda, we would do that in detail. But I want to focus on the business value of this, right? So, like I said, even as a freelancer, people are making money from freelancing stuff like this, right? Somebody can build 5 chatbots for 5 different companies in 1 year and make a lot of money, right? Just like trying to make websites for people was a big deal. Right now with chatbots, every company wants their own, customer service chatbot. So you don't have to rely too much on a customer service personnel to get information about your service, right? So this was just, one that we worked on. So I've showcased 5 different projects in different stacks of data science that would make you stand out. So if you've enjoyed the project or if you found them fascinating, please give a reaction on the chats while I catch my breath a bit. Right? You can give a reaction on the chats. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me go back to slideshow. So let me take some questions here before I probably continue with the presentation. Let me take some questions. Okay. Ola Muyuwa, you can go ahead, please. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I would like to ask, what's the minimum number of projects you need to like showcase, probably let's say on your LinkedIn, to make you look hireable? You understand?
So I would say 9.
9?
No, okay, no. I would say 9. Why I said 9 was because I watched a video yesterday about there's a visa currently for global talents and founders in the UK.
Yeah.
Right. And the guy that was actually trying to give people on like how to navigate the world was like you should have 9 studied projects on your portfolio. So that was why that number kept my head. But when it comes to landing a job, sometimes it's not really about the number, it's more about the quality, really, right? So, but just to give you a number, right? I would say 4. Just to
4.
put a number on it, I would say 4. Yeah, I would say 4.
Okay,
Just
because
yeah.
I'm part of what the Amdari cohort. I just took a break because of school project. Again,
Okay.
of completed just I think I completed one, which is the segmentation analysis, before I took a break. You understand? So
Yeah.
I've been trying to apply for jobs with that one that I did. You get like, but nothing is forthcoming yet.
Yeah.
So that's why prompt to ask, like, how many do you need to like have to be able to showcase to like, okay, I think this guy know what he's doing, you know?
Yeah. So I will just give, like I said, to give a generic average, I would say 4, right? But it's not always the case, right? Let's say, for instance, now let's say you've done 2 projects on a particular domain, and
Yeah.
that company, the recruiter company, that is the domain that they're interested in. They will call you back. You understand? They will call you back. So it's not really about a number per se, right? But sometimes they want to also see that, okay, you have enough experience. So sometimes the number of projects that you do kind of shows the, let me see, amount of experience that you have. You understand? So when they say, okay, you need 5 years of experience, or blah 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 blah, nobody can really start asking you, you know, okay, what year? No, they are focused on what you've done. So if you're able to achieve, let's say you come to Amdawi, you achieved 3 projects, right, in the space of, let's say 4 months or whatever, that can literally serve as 2 years of experience. Literally. Because when you're working for a company, you could be doing 1 project for 1 year or even longer. You understand? Me personally, 70% of my portfolio or even more comes from me working with Amdawi, honestly, because it's fast-paced, right? It's fast-paced, and we're working as a team, so you can get things done much faster, right? So yeah, but just to put a number on it, I would say 4. For you to feel confident with your portfolio, I would say 4. Just to put a number on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
Okay, let me check on the chat. We have, would you advise that those who are interested in tech like me, but have no experience, go to YouTube to get first-hand experience? I'm really interested, but when I go to YouTube to learn more, I usually do not know who to watch. Everyone has something to say. Yeah. So that is usually the problem with learning on YouTube, because it's not structured, right? It's not structured. Let me okay, if I'm to give, so Nigerians, yeah, I'm going to be very real with us, right? We've sort of made paying for knowledge look like a bad thing. I don't know why, honestly. I actually don't know why, right? So I always advise it's best for you to actually register and get guidance and learn properly with a structured format, right? The best thing that I did for myself post graduation, I was a young guy from Uniben. I just finished school. I studied physics. I was not even sure where I was going to work with physics. Like, there was literally no opportunity for me to do anything with physics in Nigeria, honestly, if I'm being honest, right? I didn't really have any money. The only bit of change that I had, I said, okay, let me actually register for a program, right, that I was going to learn this field. This was a long while ago now. And everything that happened for me in the next 3-4 years that even allowed me to even relocate outside of Nigeria came from that, right? So I always say your first interaction with this field will determine how much motivated you are to continue. If the program that I actually did was actually if I had a bad experience, I'm not sure I would have probably dumped it and done something else, right? So a lot of the times people, I want to learn tech, you go on YouTube, you see a video and you don't understand, or it feels confusing, then you just say it's too hard, right? So I would always advise you actually just register for a program. Obviously, I'm going to recommend my own sister company, right, which is called Analytics, right? They actually focus on training you in this field. Then when you've done your training, there's a very seamless way you can move from there to Amdawi, where you get work experience, right? Me personally, I didn't use YouTube. I'm not even sure how much I've used YouTube, if I'm being honest, because like you said, everyone always has something to say, right? And YouTube learning is not structured. Yeah, so I always recommend, if you really want to learn it properly, it's best to just, do your due diligence. Ask questions. It's not as if you just carry your money. Ask questions, right? Ask questions. Okay, what is your program about? What do you offer? What am I going to learn? Then, just be confident and, and enroll. And give it your all. It's not about enrolling. Actually putting the time and effort, right? And, you'll be very shocked with how much progress you can make within a short period of time if you actually put in the work, right? So, yeah, That would be my advice. I'm currently in the UK and would want to connect. That is why I joined. Okay, yes, that's great. That's great. So we can always follow up, right? As long as you're in the community, we'll always follow up on you and tell you about the different programs that we have, both in Amdari and also our sister company as well. So yeah, so that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Do you have any more questions? Any more questions? So next, I'm moving on to. I'll be talking about some of our previous consultants that got jobs and how they did. I'll tell you a brief story of how they actually got the jobs, how they were able to use this sort of projects and showcase in an interview and stuff like that. So that is going to be what I'm going to talk about before we bring this session to our end. I would like to confirm from my moderator how much time I have. So I don't know. I'm David, but if you're there, can you tell me how much time I have left so that I'll know how to go about it? Okay, I'm not sure.
So, Sean, what did you say?
Yeah, so I was like, if you can confirm how much time I have left so that I will know how to go through this next part.
Oh, I think you have about 30 minutes left.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you. All right, so we're going to meet some of our consultants that got jobs recently. So yeah, I have Opeyemi. So Opeyemi worked directly with me, right? She came in as a business analyst. Yes, right. Very, very smart lady. She had a master's degree in data set analytics, right? But she wasn't able to, get jobs, really, right? So she came to Amdari, worked on a couple of projects, right? And eventually, I think on the third month, that was when she got this job. So this was our conversation, right? She shared me the CV that she used for the role, right? So the email that you see on the screen is the email of them confirming her, right? Then, yeah, I think I was also going to give her a reference as well. So that was why she even contacted me. But I want to just show you some part of Opeyemi's CV, just to prove to you why a portfolio of work is important, right? So apart from just just giving you this experience in projects, there are also other services that Amdari offers within that altogether, right? So when you join Amdari as a consultant, you also get access to the services as well. One of them is a CV revamp, right? So you can see our CV is following a particular format, right? You will get to meet CV experts that will help you construct your CV work better and showcase your best attributes. We also have the LinkedIn optimization sessions as well, where we help you revamp your LinkedIn, optimize it to showcase yourself better to recruiters as well. So let me show you her qualifications, right? She had a master's degree in data science and analytics, right? Distinction from the UK, right? She had a BSc in computer science as well. This was her certifications. Now, these educations and these many training and certifications that you're also seeing here, she had completed this even before she joined Amdari. Let me try and zoom this a bit so that it's a bit clearer. She had done all this, even before she joined Amdari. But yet, this lady was not still getting jobs. Someone that has a master's in data science analytics, distinction from the UK, and has this many trainings that she has done, AWS, Google, and the rest, right? What changed the story, right, was this. Amdari UK, she worked with us as a data analyst stroke data science consultant from April 2025 present, right? Now, look at these projects. She utilized advanced software tools, Python, SQL, Streamlit, to design robust pipelines for data that validates frameworks, improving data reliability by 30%. designed and implemented predictive segmentation models that support data-driven marketing outcomes that increased ROI by what? 35%. Now, when you look at this project that is here now, this is what I talked about regarding customer segmentation in what real-time backing. That was the project on her CV. And where she got the job was in InPost. InPost, that's where she got the job. And they were very particular about this word, customer segmentation. When you look at her projects, right? Relevant projects. One, language model plus RAG chatbots for a university, which was what I just showed you. She was under that particular cohort that worked on those projects that I showed you just now. Customer segmentation using RFM metrics as well, which was the one I showed you on real-time banking. Real-time demand forecasting dashboard for electricity, load prediction. That was the one I showed you as well. Then there were some that I didn't show you, right? That she also worked on with us. CLV and retention modeling. Smart waste classifier. The one I showed you on recycling, right? That's the project. So how many do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 projects. Now, you can't see this kind of CV and say this person does not have the stuffs. You understand? She got this job. I don't know if the date on my chart is there. Let me see. No, I'm not sure the date is on the chart. But she got this job even before she left Amdawi, like a month prior or so. Right? That was she got the job. So, yeah, so this is Opeyemi. Like I said, she came in as a business analyst. It's not as if she had prior experience as a data scientist, right? That's what she came in as. Although she had done a master's degree in it, but she still felt, she needed work experience, and we were able to provide with her. And if you look at it, yes, she has different experiences from different companies, right? Different companies, but all of our projects were from Amdawi. That's the difference. So all the projects were from Amdawi. When you look at it, all of them were from Amdawi, right? So yeah, that's how Opeyemi became successful. Let me check who again we have here. Yeah, we have we also have another Opeyemi actually. I don't know how, but the two of them are Opeyemis, but him is a male. His own story was more of resilience than anything else, right? So I will share this video with you, this YouTube video, and you guys can watch the video. His own story was more of resilience. If you see the caption of the video, let me show you the caption of the video. Let me look for the caption of the video. Yeah. So you can see the caption, right? It says, Amdawi helped me land the job after over 600 applications. So that's why I said his own story was more of resilience and determination than anything else, right? I'm going to share this link on the YouTube so that you can check it out as well, right? So basically, he came in also as a DS consultant. Although he didn't work directly with me, he worked with one of my colleagues, right? And like I said, apart from you working on project, there are also other services that will help you with. Your CV revamp is one of them. Your LinkedIn optimization is one of them. So now he had this project on his, right? He had this project already. His issue was interviews. That was his issue. He was getting a lot of interviews, but he was not getting the job. That was his own problem. So that's why he had to take over 600 applications before he actually got a job. So another service that we also offer is interview preparation. So while you're with us, right, or even after you've left us and you get an interview, right, you could schedule an interview prep with us. So you will have a specialist from that particular field, and you also have an interview prep expert as well on the call with you, right? So we'll prep you for your interview. So he was very, very good, right? He was, I would say he was decent, but his problem was, being able to communicate during an interview. So it took a lot of prepping, and a whole lot of applications. But eventually he got a job, right? I mean, when that particular day was, I think, one of our best moments in recent history, because it shows, what you can really achieve just by just being consistent and being willing to improve by the day. And one thing with him was that each time he had one interview, he will always give us feedback. There was even a point he was even recording his interview. So we cannot actually watch the recording of the interview, the audio, and tell him, okay, this was what you should have done better. So he just kept improving gradually until he now got to a job. So this is to see that it's not always easy. For Pyramid's case, hers was a bit seamless. I think I already had 2 interviews with her, then she got a job. But with somebody, it took 600 applications and probably like 20 interviews before he finally got a job, right? But the main thing is that if you package your portfolio in the right way, you come prepared, you always raise your chances, much higher compared to you just do nothing, or you just follow the generic way that everybody does. Go and do a course, apply with the course, degree, and hope for the best. It's not going to work, right? From data itself, that is not going to work. So that was his own story. So you can watch the full video. I've just shared the link on the chat as well. You can also watch the different videos on the Amdawi YouTube channel. It's a mix of videos. We have stories from past consultants. We have some videos that you can learn from. Even this particular session is also going to be on the YouTube channel as well, hopefully. So yeah, we have a couple of real nice curated contents on the YouTube channel. Yeah, they will still have some more success stories apart from guys in the data track, right? For her name is Mata. She came in, she got a job as a senior PM manager, right? 2 months after she signed in Amdawi, 2 months, right? So yeah, our own role was on project management. So aside from data science, analytics, engineering, we also have PM, we have on cybersecurity, SOC, GRC, and we also have business analysis as well. So if you want to recommend your colleagues, your friends, your family, these are tracks that they can actually go for as well. So I've spoken about the services that we offer apart from just the internship where you work on projects. We revamp your CV and review it, LinkedIn optimization as well. As well, we have every week on a Thursday what we call the mentorship and career session, right? So you actually get to speak with high-level professionals in the field on different topics, right? Our co-founder joins those sessions sometimes. Sometimes we also invite past consultants that got the job to come and tell you their own experience, or we invite somebody in the industry, a senior person that will tell you about what you need to do to get into the industry as well. So apart from the technical delivery of the project, CV revamp, LinkedIn optimization, mentorship, interview prep, and job reference, right? So you get a job, or rather, you're applying for a job, right, on your CV, and that is also a reference. In the UK, if before they give you, or rather before you start, right, they want to get back from your last employer. So we every single day we send out references every single day. For school as well, right? We've had persons that want to apply for PhD programs, funded PhD programs. We have persons that are currently applying for the UK Global Founder Talent Visa. We also give those references as well. Then on the job support as well. So for a certain period of time, when you do get a job, if you need some certain level of support, right, we also provide it for you as well. Then you also get access to the Amdawi job board. So on the Amdawi website, when you come into Amdawi, we have a job board where we scrape up-to-date job listings from the major recruiter sites in the UK, US, and Canada, right? So You don't have to be switching through different platforms. You open Indeed, open LinkedIn, open Glassdoor, open what do you have again, GitHub, open remote.uk. In one centralized platform, you can see up-to-date job listings and you just be applying for them. It's also a numbers games as well, right? When our co-founder speaks about getting the job, it tells you that it's also a numbers game. You have to apply. That is the truth. You have to apply, and keep applying. Eventually you will land that job. So yeah, this brings an end to my presentation. So like I said, we'll help with civil review and revamp, LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market, and interview preparation. All this will also accompany the core deliverable that we offer in Amdawi, which is what? Project level experience, right? Or rather, real world project experience in your desired field. So I think from here, I can take some questions, some inquiries, anything you want me to go through again before we call it a day. What are the cost implications to be part of this? So Amdawi Growth will speak, he will also speak on when is the next cohort, right? So he's going to speak on this, but let me see if persons also have different questions regarding maybe to something that I can give a perfect answer to. Okay, Femi, go ahead, Femi.
Okay, I want to ask, what is the difference between Hamdari and then 10x Analytics? That's the first one. What is in terms of difference, what are they both offering differently?
Okay.
Then the training section, is it anytime you can join, or there's cohorts, or there's a section for each of the two?
Okay, so thank you very much, Femi, for those questions. Okay, so firstly, for our sister company, right, what they do there is that you've not had any experience at all in this particular field, and you want to just learn. It's like going to school again, basically, right? You are going to school to learn this thing. So they teach you. That's what they do. They teach you, right, how to code in Python, how to clean data, how to train machine learning models. They teach you. Yes, you will still do a capstone project at the end of your time with them, but the main core is you understanding the foundations of that field, right? So that's what they do. They teach you. So they're going to school. This is an internship, right, where you actually get to work, right? So in truth, there's still some level of teaching when it comes to the project. We will still guide you. You will still work with a specialist that from time to time will help you in areas that might not be very, very clear and need assistance, right? But the main core is working on what? On projects, building your portfolio. The whole mindset in Amdawi is you getting a job. Why do people go through an internship? Because they feel they need experience to get a job. So that's our focus, right? In our sister company that focus on you understanding that field and becoming, skilled in that area. Our focus is giving you everything that you need to land the job. Yeah, so that's basically the difference between Analytics and Amdawi. Then, in terms of how we recruit, it happens per cohort. So we have what they call cohorts, right? We have cohorts, right? I think Amdawi go to speak more on that, about the next cohort and the time, the timing on it. So yeah, usually year round we have a lot of calls that come in, right? But I think Amdawi go to speak more on that. So I don't know if you want to come in here. If you would like to come in here, Olumide.
All right, good evening. Thank you, Sean. That's been an insightful session. So our next course is going to start January. That's when our next course is, and that's going to be specifically January 10th, Saturday, January 10th. So, and also the pricing of this course, I don't know if Sean had mentioned earlier, the pricing, we are currently on a discount, and the pricing of this course would normally be £500, but we're on a discount and it's 300 £110 at this point in time. That means you get to pay £103 three times. So you can pay in installment monthly over the next 3 months. The program is usually 3 months, but due to people clamoring for the fact that they want one, they want more because they couldn't get it. They want more and more. People just want to get the best out of everything that you're doing. So we decided to add the 1 month free. So if you get to make payments, you get 3 months plus 1 month free at £310, and you can pay in three installments. I would employ anybody, especially if you're looking for a job or you're looking to go to next level in your career, that you should take up on this opportunity because it's an opportunity of a lifetime. If you have some time, I would say go to our YouTube channel, go and check Dari, go and check testimonials of people who have actually gotten a job, what they said, how they worked about it. The very good thing about this program and meeting people like Sean is the fact that they have walked through everything you're about to experience, whatever you're going through in the UK in the job market now. It's not new to them. They've gone through it, and every person that you're going to meet are also going through that journey. You have mentors, you have coaches that have walked that journey, and they'll be able to guide you. We also offer our reference letter, which is very solid. Trust me, a reference letter could be the difference between you getting a job and losing out to another person in the final stage of the interview. You get to go from somebody that doesn't even get a reply back or feedback with unfortunately to getting interview invites, going two stage of interview to the final stage of interview to getting reference letter to getting that sponsorship job or getting that job that makes you earn a whole lot, and then all your efforts would have been worth it on the bottom line. So yeah, and there's a lot when you look at Sean's screen, you see there's a lot we offer. CV review, LinkedIn optimization, on the jobs, what's it called? How to navigate the job market. We have our own specific job board. There are quite a number of job boards that are not open to the general public, that you have to pay for you to get access to it. We have paid, and we are putting different kind of jobs on that job board for you to be able to have access to. When you get an interview, we prepare you for that interview. We go through it with you step by step so that you can be well guided. We also provide mentorship sessions for people who have gotten jobs, people who are doing things like different kind of things. Sorry, within the UK industry, experienced people, and they provide mentorship sessions. Like I also mentioned earlier, our job reference letter is also pretty solid. Now, when you get a job, it's not over with like, oh, we've gotten a job, we fulfilled everything, and we don't need us anymore. No, 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 no. We still help you provide on the job support despite getting a job. We still continue to support you along the way. So that's pretty much it. I think Femi has a question.
I have actually asked my question and you partly answered it too. Sean has also answered it already, so I don't know my hand is still up. But another question I would probably ask is how flexible is the trading, considering most of us are in the UK, hustling and bustling with the with bills and all that. So how flexible is it for people that are actually working?
So 95 or 100% of everybody within are going to be in every cohort or in your department are also very busy people. So you come together, your coach is going to bring you together, and you all will agree on a time for you to be able to meet. And don't forget, it's not a training, it's a, what's it called? It's a work
Projects.
experience. So you need to have some level of at least foundational knowledge. It is not where you start learning what is business analysis, how to be a business analyst, what does a business analyst does. You're coming to learn how to use some certain tools in order for you to be able to leverage in the job market. Do you get what I'm saying? You're coming to learn how to, so look at everything Sean just took you through during this whole presentation. It is something that if you don't have at least some level of theoretical knowledge or foundation, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to be able to grab. So if you have some level of knowledge and everything like that, it is something, there's going to be recording of these sessions in case you miss any session. It is something you would easily grab. But the biggest thing about this is that now you're looking at working as a data analyst, working as a data scientist, working as a business analyst, cybersecurity expert in a different light, in the context of trying to look for a job. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're no longer communicating in the language of, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do this. You're communicating the language of, oh, through this project that I worked on, I was able to save this company £7 million during the year. And it is easy for anybody to say, if you can save a company £1 million or 700k pounds in a year, we can sponsor you with £7,000. You are a, what's it called? You are a
Access.
value to the company. Do you understand? You're a value to the organization. Definitely, you'll be a value to us. Those are some of the things you're coming to learn how to position yourself. Those are some of the projects you are going to be working on and sharing. And yeah, so to answer your questions, the whole team will come together to fix a time that is convenient for everybody, and there'll be recordings of sessions that, say for example, you missed a session due to a change in shift or something for you, you'll be able to have a recording of it.
Thank you.
Now, Sean, you are muted if you're saying something.
Okay, yeah, I said there's also a question on the chat. If you want to respond to that, he's asking, he wants to learn the field first at analytics before he joined at Amdawi. What is the course and what is the duration for the data science course? So I think we could probably reach out to him on that, right? Since it's regarding analytics. So Adi, we'll reach out to you since it's regarding analytics. We would reach out to you on that.
Yeah, I would have said you should drop your contact details, but this is a very public place, so I wouldn't recommend that just for your data security. But I would recommend that you go to Tenalytics Instagram page. You can easily find the Instagram page and reach out to them. They have a package that includes the Amdari internship program. So very easy for you to finish your program and also come to and also join the Amdari internship program. But yeah, I'll have asked you to drop your number, but for the sake of your security, of your details, please reach out to Tenalytics on Instagram. Thank you. So I think another question.
Yeah, so to get some level of knowledge, where do we get the training? Because you mentioned that Amdawi is not the place for training. I need to understand, please. Yeah, so where you get the training is called Analytics, right? But I also want to mention that you don't have to be an expert to do Amdawi. So I asked a couple of questions earlier. I asked a question, I said, what is the difference between unstructured data and structured data? A lot of persons were able to answer it accurately. I also asked another question about unsupervised learning and supervised learning. Some persons were able to answer it accurately. So it's not to say that you have to be an expert before you join Amdawi. No, just a basic knowledge is enough. But if you have no knowledge at all, like zero knowledge, then you have to undergo training at our sister company called the bit I just shared with you, right, before you now joining Amdawi. So that's basically it. So you can check out Analytics, probably send them a DM on Instagram, right? And they will tell you about the next cohort. And like you just mentioned, there is a package that allows you to move directly from there to Amdawi, right, at a discounted price as well. So that's also something that you might want to look into. Okay, Godfrey, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Sean, for the presentation. It's been very enlightening. So, I would also like to know the scope of this training, because already you have a portal where there are projects. So how different is this internship from those projects that you have in the Amdari platform? Because I've actually tried to do quite a couple of them. So I want to know how extensive It's the internship.
Okay, so you've already seen the Adawi platform, right? The Adawi website, right?
Yes, yes.
And you see some projects there, right?
I've seen some projects.
Yeah. So those projects are for you to, fine-tune your skills while you're working with us in Adawi. So we've had situations where some persons come in, they knew some of these things already, but they've not opened a laptop in a very long time. So while we're working on projects with them, it's a bit rusty. So we'll tell them, while we're doing this project, go and practice with the self-learning. Those are self-learning projects on the platform, just to, dust up your skills, right? So those are like you go on YouTube or you go on Udemy, right? That's what is there. So those projects are like just to fine-tune your skills while you work with us. So let's say you're working on a project with us, right? And you've not trained a machine learning algorithm in a while and you've forgotten how to do it. Instead of going to YouTube or whatever, you can just go there and watch a project just to fine-tune your skills. So our own project is different. It's not self-paced. It is real projects, right? That come from stakeholders. So that's the difference. Yeah.
Like stakeholders, you mean like different companies?
Yeah. Yeah, we communicate to people. That's what I mean. Obviously, there's still some how will I call it? Privacy involved, right? So you will not, what you will see is not the exact way it was brought to us. You understand? Based on yeah. But they are basically reward projects. That's what I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the response.
All right. Thank you very much for that question, Godfrey. Do we still have another question again? Any other question? Let me see. All right. So okay. So if we're good, probably give a thumbs up. If we've learned something, or if it has been an exciting session, right? You can give a thumbs up or any reaction of your choice. All right, that's great. That's great. So, what I would say is that, right, this is just what we've shown, or what I showed is just like tip of the iceberg level. Like there's a whole lot we do. Actually, there's literally a whole lot. That's what I would say is a whole lot. And if you go to on our YouTube, on our pages, you will see, right? And it was just mentioned just now by my colleague, 90% of the persons that are with us are in the same demographic. They're in the UK, US, or Canada. They are working full-time jobs and they want to transition into tech. It's the same thing. So there's nothing that we are experiencing now that we're not familiar with. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We know the process. Even our co-founders themselves, our two co-founders, they went through that same process. And that was where the idea of even having this company called Amdawi, right? One went to the UK, one went to Canada. They face the same challenges. So all those challenges that we know our people face was basically what led about to, this company. So that's what I would say. So apart from what you gain from Amdawi, there's also a very, very nice networking aspect to it as well, where you get to meet people in the same thing, as you, by doing the same hustle as you, so to say. So that also adds an extra layer of motivation, right, and consistency to the whole program as well. So yeah, it'd be nice meeting you all, and hopefully I will see a good number of you in Amdawi, where we actually get to work on projects like this, right? So I think that will be all for me.